good morning. It is 17 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, candidate for governor of New Mexico, Republican Rebecca Dow with us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Glad to get a chance to speak with you sometime here. You got to pop in for the fair last week and everything.
I sure did, yeah.
How did that go for you?
It's great. I love a fair.
Yeah.
Fairs are fun. And it's good folks, everyday New Mexican. You get to hear from the soul of New Mexico.
Yeah, and it was nice to do things that feel like normal again, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just in the world of COVID. And
yes.
It was just nice to see kids showing animals and people riding rides and eating copious amounts of fair food and all that good stuff.
All that good stuff.
Yeah. So, obviously, I think a lot of people, through your previous, as a representative here. And so I think some people are, familiar with you. But before we kind of get into all the other issues and things, just give a little bit of background and tell folks a little bit about Rebecca Dow.
Well, yeah, I'm a mom. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a community organizer, advocate. So I spent the last 20 years serving the community that raised me, starting various organizations that didn't exist beforehand, providing home visiting, early childhood, pre-K, started a K-12 accredited Christian school, teen program, after-school programs throughout the district and the public schools, and behavioral health clinic, transitional housing for families post-incarceration. Just been up to creating jobs and creating services that help people become self-sufficient and transition off of government assistance and pave their own path and live the American dream.
Yeah, so you really spent your time, working in the issues and problems that we as communities have and try to find, resources and solutions for people that need it.
Yeah, I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always been really good with business. So I've used my business background paired with my degree in early childhood to launch these programs that really don't make sense on paper. But with hard work and building community buy-in, we've been able to create programs that have really transformed the lives of low-income at-risk families in Sierra County.
For folks that don't know, also too, you currently has been serving as in the legislature as a member of the House since 2017, something like that.
Yes, sir.
And you fought right alongside our legislators down here trying to make some headway through that legislature.
Absolutely.
I've always been saying, and I'm a conservative, but I'm not gonna lie, I lean a little libertarian in my ideology and things, but I've always said we need to get back to balance. I know we talk about conservative values.
Yes, absolutely.
I would just like to get to the middle again.
Absolutely.
The middle, I'll accept the middle right now. It just at least so we get an opportunity to get good government in place.
Yeah.
How do we combat that?
My freshman term, we had, a dozen or so what were considered moderate Democrats. They're pro-life. They were pro-Second Amendment. They're fighting to protect our right to bear arms. They had really good land management ideas. They believed in private property and protecting private property. And so, the progressives, led by Speaker Brian Egoff, have spent millions of dollars primarying them and getting them out of office. There's no moderation left. You're absolutely right. And when we were outnumbered 2-1, my freshman term, we were able to really deliberate about bills, make amendments, make the bills better. And when they were bad bills, we killed them.
Sure.
You just can't do that right now. It is a runaway, and these progressives do not listen to the everyday New Mexican. They're beholden to special interest groups. MLGs might as well be Pelosi, and Speaker Egoff is right there with her.
Sure, and that's the part that really scares me.
It's scary.
And of course I've been, I'm a student of history and talking, matter of fact, I was just talking the other day about, if you look at Lincoln County Wars and all the backhanded dealings and things that went on behind all of that. I'm like, well, that's why we've been doing this since New Mexico, before New Mexico was a state. We've been doing this.
They're not even backhanded anymore. They're just doing it blatantly right in front of us against the will of the people. I've been in committee hearings where there's hundreds and hundreds of people against a bill. Every municipality, every county, everyone's against a bill. For example, House Bill 4, that was the one that did away with qualified immunity. No one was supportive of that bill except trial attorneys. And that's who the progressives voted for, was the trial attorneys. And everyone else is a loser.
So what's as governor, I mean, obviously you have some control there.
Absolutely.
What the legislation does and things, but even still, odds are pretty good you're going to be dealing with a legislature that's not going to support most of what you support.
Well, I'm going to have a whole lot of veto pins on standby.
Yeah,
absolutely.
How do we get people to work together? Because I understand there's going to be progressives, there's going to be people, but at least let's talk. At least
there is a little bit of hope. It's not that bleak.
Okay.
In this last election, a Democrat president was declared the winner, but we only lost the majority of the House and the Senate. If you looked at the targeted seats that we really needed to win, we lost those seats by less than 13,000 votes.
Sure.
That's not bad in a year when a Democrat's declared the winner. And so there is hope for us to win back the House.
Good.
And I'm very optimistic that with the right candidates, and that's a candidate that's willing to knock doors and raise money and knows their community and folks get behind them, we can win the House. So it's not all hopeless. But I'll tell you what, people say, what can you do as one person? What has Michelle Long Grisham done to your business? What has she done to your school district? What has she done to your personal liberties? One person.
Sure.
One person. So day one, we end emergency health orders, we deploy the National Guard, we outlaw critical race theory, and then we get to work creating a stable regulatory environment for New Mexico business so that they can thrive. We've got to reform CYFD, something I'm personally very passionate about. Our most vulnerable children are being failed by the system that's supposed to protect them, and we've got to make changes at public education department.
It's funny. You talk about these things and definitely the change. I'm kind of curious as you're going around the state, and I'm sure, obviously you're hitting in areas like we're very conservative here, but I'm
going to all 33 counties.
Yeah, you're going and seeing other
Absolutely.
Parts. What's kind of the mindset of the people
in
the more liberal parts of the state? Because I know the politicians think one way, but what are the people thinking?
Oh, the people are just fed up with this nonsense. They are absolutely... Northern New Mexico, I'll talk about Northern New Mexico because that's where we got to win. When we went in to spend a couple of days at Rio Arriba, those folks are patriots. It does not matter what their party registration is. Freedom and liberty and the right to pursue the American dream is not partisan. And these folks are coming up to us, giving us checks, giving us their support, asking for photos, asking for signs. And some of these folks, they're elected Democrat officials. And they're like, we are on Team Dow. Get Michelle Lujan Grisham out of there. Stop these people. They're out of control. There's so much at stake for us as a Western state, but also just our constitutional republic. And folks see it.
I'm curious, getting back to the legislative side things in a little bit. Some of the moderate Democrats and things are you seeing cracks in the armor there a little bit where they're thinking about jumping or at least separating more from the more progressive side of the party?
Well, I mean, let's just talk about Senator Jacob Candelaria. I wouldn't consider him a moderate at all. He's a very progressive Democrat, and he is anti-MLG.
I'll take that.
It's not even a moderate.
Yeah. I want another one of your passion areas, and because this has been a perennial problem in New Mexico's education.
Yes, sir.
My wife's a teacher. Obviously,
Yes,
your background, you have background in education and things through some of the programs and things you've done. Why do we keep getting it wrong as a state, in your opinion? Why
the
are we
more
perennially last?
Well, when we under Richardson, when we changed it from the New Mexico Department of Education to the Public Education Department, we changed the structure. It gave the authority to the state to centralize power. That doesn't mean they have to. I certainly would not as governor. I would give the authority back to the local school districts. And these elected school board members, you look them in the face, you see them in the restaurants, you see them at church. They know best what our community needs. Anybody thinks that folks far away in Santa Fe care more about our kids than we do right here in our own community, that's just absurd. So local governance, but I'll tell you what, we have got to have school choice. When all these progressives talk about institutional racism, they talk about systematic racism, the biggest offender in our state is the public education department, probably Albuquerque Public Schools. These children are stuck in failing school districts based on what their parents can afford to pay. Meanwhile, 2 of the top charter schools in the U.S. are right there in Albuquerque, and progressives are trying to put moratoriums on the growth of charter schools. That's absolutely crazy. So these low-income children of color get to go to a charter school. They're reaching their full potential. They're graduating top of their class, ready to succeed in school and in life, wherever they choose to do. And we want to put moratorium on it because it's not fair. I mean, we need school choice in New Mexico. And school choice in New Mexico is not just school choice for children and parents. It's school choice for folks like your wife.
Sure.
Teachers get to choose to go to a school that lets them innovate.
Sure.
It's school choice for administrators. And so we've got to have radical education reform in this state. Why not?
Yeah.
We're 50th in the nation. What do we have to lose? Let's put all the cards on the table.
Let me ask, and this is where I'm a little naive, and I know a little bit of information, and you know how that can be sometimes dangerous. But like I said, my wife's a teacher and things, and I know I don't quite know the whole process, but public schools get funding based on the number of kids they've got in their on the numbers.
Correct.
There. I mean, is that system part of the problem? I mean. What I mean by that is if public schools are saying we're going to get less money if we have less kids and we need to keep grabbing kids.
Right.
And so they're going for quantity, not necessarily quantity. I mean, is that philosophy in itself part of the problem here, or am I off base?
Well, that's part of the formula. And then we have the at-risk funding formula. And the problem that I see with part of this is that to children who need those dollars are generating the dollars, but once they hit the district, they're unrestricted.
Gotcha.
So I am the co-sponsor of a bill that will now track those dollars at least to the school site.
Gotcha.
Right now, those dollars are generated. You've got a child who's special needs, English is their second language, and I don't know, whatever, they're low income. So they are generating more dollars. But once they hit the district, those dollars are unrestricted. They can be used to, build a track.
Gotcha.
So the dollars to follow the students, absolutely. Dollars should always follow the students. But the public education system should not be entitled to those dollars.
Gotcha.
Wherever that child is, whether it's homeschool, private, it should go where the kid is. The dollars need to follow the student, and we should be able to track that. And I don't know a lot of districts that oppose that. They want transparency, accountability, but they also want flexibility to be responsive to their community in real time.
Gotcha.
And that is what we're losing under Michelle Lujan Grisham. They're doing this top-down approach. One size does not fit all. We're failing our students. Her moonshot is anything but a moonshot.
Well, and that one size fits all mentality, we've been doing that since COVID. And I feel like we as a state are really tired of that.
I'm sick and tired of it. And I get to watch my nieces and nephews who are in Oklahoma, they're in Texas, they're in Idaho. They're all going to school in person and they're not masks and they're learning.
Yeah. Well, and this is, I want to transition here because I've been, obviously the mask mandates are right now in place today and things like that. We live here in Roswell. We've been the bad boys of New Mexico yelling at us all the time for this kind of stuff. But just my personal observations here in our town, people, you see the mask signs up and everything, but you're going around and people are like, we're not enforcing it. We're not, no one's really, I mean, you have a here and there incident, but I'm kind of curious, is the rest of the state like us right now, or are we an oddity? I mean, can you, if you go into, say, Santa Fe and go walk around stores and things like, are people tired of this mask stuff too and are kind of looking the other way, or are they more stringent about it?
Well, one of my favorite constituents is a World War II vet. He's Sir Dan McBride, did 102 jumps in World War II. Market Garden, Battle of the Bulge, I mean, you name it, he was there, one of 9 men who survived. And so anyways, I had lunch with him last week, and he did not wear a mask. Okay. And you know what? Quite frankly, when you're a 97-year-old World War II paratrooper,
you do what you want.
You do whatever you want, right?
Right.
So we're leaving the restaurant. I had on my mask because Silver City, they mask up. This is one of those cities where the mayor imposed everything the governor asked.
Okay.
And so they put in local ordinances on top of the state emergency orders. So yes, Silver City, which they call Little Santa Fe, people are wearing masks.
Gotcha.
So we're walking out of the restaurant and Dan doesn't have his mask on, and these little ladies are shooing him aside and telling him to move along. They're trying to social distance and he's going to give them COVID. And he just said it was just this beautiful poem. And then the last line was like something about cows eat grass and you can kiss my, and he waved his cane at him. And I was like, yeah, what he said. But
so if people are getting fed up with it.
Fed up.
I mean,
there are pockets of communities where they're just, it's crazy. And in fact, I'll talk to people and I say, how's our governor doing? They'll say, oh my gosh, she saved my mother's life. She saved your mother's life. What did she do? Well, she did that, shelter at home. And my mother has this health factor and this health factor. I say, so if the governor didn't mandate you stay home, you would have forced your mother out. And I don't vote Republican, so that, but they, some people really think you need that governor to, the government to tell you what to do. I personally think that we're in the land of the free and we have this opportunity that's unique to us around the world that we have personal responsibility. We get to take risks and it comes with rewards.
Absolutely.
And so hard work, it should pay off and we get to make personal choices about our bodies. That's just how it goes.
Well, and this is, I'm stepping in, this is my beliefs. And, you're right. This is America. We have, we believe that you have the freedom to make decisions that best suit you. We also don't want to hinder that ability, but a consequence of that is you are responsible for the result of your decision, and that's life. I mean, you can't legislate people from making decisions. Like, they're going to make those decisions. It's like, I don't know, my opinion is like when we talk about, race right now, and you talk about putting laws in place to discriminate. I was like, you can't really legislate hate. You can't do it.
You can't
can make
legislate
all the-
morality.
Yeah, you can put all these rules in place, but that's a heart thing, and the government's not in the heart business. I'm
Shouldn't
sorry.
be. Should not be.
It's they're there to make the playing field level for everybody, and then you, as a responsible adult, need to use those guidelines to live your life accordingly. And that's how this country should be. And anything that any laws that we as a society make to hinder that is a problem.
Well, I don't disagree with you, and I think the most important thing that's the foundation of a free society is rule of law.
Yeah.
And, we have a governor who has a disregard for rule of law. She has absolutely no problem ignoring it. She takes $250 million of COVID money to defend herself in court, whereas the person who the business she shut down has to figure out how to pay for it themselves. She just doesn't care.
Yeah.
She has a disregard for our law enforcement. We're seeing that in the rise in crime and the open border. I mean, everywhere we turn, she's attacking the fundamental values we believe in as Americans. And what creates a free society begins with rule of law, public safety, and our ability to live the American dream.
Sure.
It's all under attack by this governor. And we have got to have a governor who believes in our inalienable, God-given constitutional rights. And I will fight to protect our constitutional rights. The Bill of Rights is not up for negotiation.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, when we raise our right hand and swear to protect the Constitution of the United States, Constitution of New Mexico, I absolutely meant it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yes, I agree completely with what you say there. I want to talk a little bit in the corruption side too, because I don't know. Just face it, New Mexico as a state has a reputation of history of politicians of throughout the years doing shady stuff and taking advantage of this while the New Mexicans suffer here.
Yep.
Are you, as a representative, and were you seeing those kind of things going on? I mean, not naming
I think
names,
this last session was probably the most egregious.
Yeah.
We had representatives carrying bills that would create personal wealth for themselves and their businesses like I've never seen before. Is absolutely ridiculous. One of them, I think that folks may not know about because it was sort of dumped into another bill, was the chairman of the Health Committee, Representative Debbie Armstrong. She's not running again, but she has taken over Michelle Lujan Grisham's Delta Corporation. That company runs the high-risk insurance pool.
Okay.
And they wrote in there that hospitals and healthcare providers cannot charge a deductible, a premium, or a copay until they have offered anyone who is denied state or federal healthcare insurance to be enrolled in the high-risk insurance pool. Happens to be owned by the person who carried the bill.
How convenient.
And has made our governor a multimillionaire over and over.
Yeah.
So,
but that happens that happens every time. I mean, look
Brian Egoff's going to make a lot of money off of our municipalities and our cities when people sue for civil rights violations.
the same.
He's a civil rights lawyer.
I mean, look at how much I would say the whole Richardson administration was full of that too. I mean, you look at spaceport, all these things, the trains, all these stuff we have. A lot of that was that kickback and scratching, your people's backs, and a lot of that stuff, and that's a history of New Mexico. And I gotta be honest, I think that contributes to a lot of our problems today.
It sure does. I mean, it's definitely a pay-to-play state. It's definitely a gerrymandered state. I can tell you right now that going across the state of New Mexico and meeting hundreds of people every day, the elected officials do not represent the values or the will of the people. They represent a gerrymandered district at the hand of Brian Egoff.
So is it, as for us, is it a matter? I mean, as governor, can you really go in and start getting like the attorney general to crack in on all this?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we need a really good Republican attorney general candidate. That is absolutely critical. If there is one thing, people ask me, who do you want for lieutenant governor, and I'll work with whoever wins.
Yeah.
But what we need is a really strong Republican attorney general. We have got to have that.
Yeah.
So if anybody's listening and they know a good lawyer, they know a good DA, they know someone who's ready to fight for our state and to help us save our constitutional republic.
Sure.
I mean, because right now we've got judges that are upholding the governor's ridiculous rulemaking, and it's just absolutely out of control. We need a really good attorney general.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's. I got a feeling, whoever our next governor, if yourself here, it'll
be me.
I almost feel like that's got to be priority one, because whatever changes we make, if we don't fix that side, it's going to go back. You know what I mean? It's gonna, and I guess that's the part that worries me the most. And I'm glad as running for governor,
Well, I think the most powerful person in the state is our governor, and their job is to give the power back to the people. So that's what we're going to focus on.
Yeah.
And that's going to give us 8 years to turn the state around.
Sure. Well,
and we're going to grow this party. I was so proud when I was 18 years old to sign up to be a Republican and go vote for Ronald Reagan's reelection.
Yeah.
And I've never looked back, and I'm proud of the policies that Trump put forth. This is the party with the solutions for the problems that we face as New Mexicans.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I want. I want to be able to kind of rely on government again. And I feel like, New Mexico and well, really as a country, we don't trust our government. And I'm not saying we need to trust our government. You always question your government because that's how our society works.
We're supposed to question everything.
Yeah. However, I mean, we should be able to trust that when policies do come out, we know it's for the best for the people and not what's best for somebody else. And because of so much of that, I even think the most liberal people are like not trusting either.
They absolutely are.
This isn't a conservative thing. This is everybody.
Yes, everywhere we go, if there's a voter registration form nearby, Democrats are switching to Republican and signing up to support us in the primary.
Sure.
And so I was at the Chaves County Republican meeting last night, and Andrea Moore reported that over 100 Democrats switched to Republican during the county fair.
During the fair?
During the fair, yeah.
That's great.
And it's not the county fair, because I was here for the Chaves County fair.
Easter.
The Eastern fair.
Yeah,
you guys had 3 fairs. It was great.
We just got fairs all over
the
place.
Expo, all that. And thank you, by the way, for saving that. That junior livestock sale was phenomenal, and this community came together and did right by our future farmers of America.
I know there was a lot of people very happy to have that host that, and we were very glad. And
I hear it might come back again.
You know what? I'm sure if they would love to come visit us, we'll welcome them with open arms.
I think one of the strong things about our candidacy is that I am from rural New Mexico. My district is farming, ranching, and extraction. It's copper, but my dad was an electrical engineer. I grew up on the pipeline. I understand the value of land use here in New Mexico. But we've got to get folks to understand that between the producers and the consumers, folks weren't really too concerned in Albuquerque about losing that junior livestock sale. But those of us who know how important it is to put affordable, high quality food on the table know that junior livestock sale is a critical part of keeping the next generation of farmers engaged.
I would imagine the fair vendors and parking and all those extra things that happened at the state fair that didn't happen this year. I think they would have been more appreciative of that livestock.
Boy, folks were sending folks. Well, and I actually like having the livestock sale in Albuquerque because I think it really it's a time for
it brings the
folks
country
in the
to
metro,
the city.
Exactly, and folks in the metro area to see where their food comes from.
Sure,
you can ask a lot of kindergartners, where does your food come from? They'll say McDonald's, the grocery store, but this is a time for them to really understand their neighbors and the work that they do to make sure that they have food on the table and groceries to buy on the shelves. It's a really important industry.
Absolutely.
It needs to be celebrated.
Absolutely. We're running short on time, but I do want to touch on oil and gas, get you a chance to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
I know if you go to your website, it's dowfornm.com, I believe.
Yes, sir.
You can read more about this. But obviously, you're a proponent for oil and gas here, and
absolutely,
and just obviously that's very important in this
area. I think the price of barrel is $80 this morning. Natural gas is around $6, I think. I don't know. I'd have to, but green energy is not reliable. It's just not reliable, and it's even we've got to have nuclear. We've got to have natural gas. I'm for coal. I mean, the way they can extract. I mean, oil and gas is the backbone of our state. Well, it's half our state budget. It's absolutely crazy to me that we would put any sort of through rules and regulations. These methane rules with OCD and with the Environment Department are absolutely absurd.
Well, and I'm all for technology and making things better. That's a good thing. Yes, of course. But if people, I don't know how many people realize this, but every single renewable energy, the way we're doing this with solar, wind, you pick it. Any of these other ways to get power, every single one of them needs oil and gas to make happen.
Absolutely.
Whether it's the plastics and things that oil and gas produces, or the oil and gas to power the plant that's running the solar or the wind, it's all there. And I feel
And
like
stripper wells are a critical part of that in the state of New Mexico.
Yeah.
I mean, it adds up. I think their contribution to the state budget last year was like $1.8 billion. I mean, it's a critical part. And so that's who's going to be hit the most is our independent petroleum producers with these new rules and regs.
Yeah.
But guess what? If it's an executive order, if it's a rule and a reg, we can reverse it.
Sure.
And so, it's all hands on deck
Yeah.
to make sure that New Mexico's thriving. There is no reason for us to be one of the poorest states in the U.S. when we are so rich with minerals.
Sure. And the power companies, the oil companies, these guys, they see the writing on the wall too. They know that
they're
we're
moving towards
evolving.
modern technology, electric
Exactly.
technology as fast as they possibly can.
They're going to be
But
just fine.
that doesn't make sense on the stripper wells. And so they should be grandfathered in at the very, very least.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no way for us to even get to the 2030 goal. It just doesn't make sense. We'd be relying on energy from other states.
Sure. Exactly.
So,
Well, look where we're at
nuclear,
now.
we've got to have nuclear. I mean, we've got all the above.
I know. I'm sure there's a lot of people scratching their heads now after, with, nationally here with Biden shutting down the pipeline here and now begging the Arabs to basically pump more gas. I'm like,
hey, how about
what do we have right here?
What a great plan our president has. Let's become dependent on foreign countries for our energy. That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, love Trump, hate Trump, whatever.
Yeah.
Say what you want. He understood that we need to be energy and we need to be self-sufficient.
that man was brilliant.
Yeah. And
People ask me,
to
did you
go-
vote for Trump? I'm saying, would you suggest I should have voted for Biden?
Well, yeah, that's what I mean.
That's crazy talk.
And I know, and this is one of the things I get it. People don't like brash people, and all. I get you. I get all that too. But when we're talking about the livelihoods of people and our lifestyles and our preserving what the values of this country, I don't mind a guy that's a little crass if that's going to get the job done.
Well, oil and gas is how my family put a roof over my head, so I'm very grateful.
Absolutely. Folks, if you'd like to come out and meet Rebecca and maybe ask a few questions or get to chit-chat with her, she will be out at Antigua's tonight.
That's right.
From 5:30 to 7. I'm trying to get her to try the octopus. I don't know if...
We are not going to go back to that conversation again.
but are you a seafood lover?
Actually, I do. I really do like
Okay,
seafood.
give
Yes,
it a try if you get a
Okay,
chance.
okay.
It is very good. He puts
Okay.
this habanero, it's got a little heat with a little sweet.
That sounds even better.
And you eat it like a steak with a knife and fork, so you
okay,
don't have
okay.
to. It doesn't look like something weird dangling.
Yeah,
in front
come
of
on out, folks. I mean, we are growing a grassroots campaign here. We are in the fight of our lives for the soul of our nation. It's going to take lots of volunteers, lots of money.
Sure.
I don't know if you saw the cover of the Albuquerque Journal, but we way outfunded. We beat Susana Martinez, was raised $440,000. Mostly off small contributions. We've got a few big checks in there, but it's mostly to everyday New Mexican, all 33 counties.
But she still needs your help just to give you a comparison.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was also, our governor has like a war chest of like 2.5 million.
Yeah.
So we got a long way to go.
It is all hands on deck. We will probably budget a little bit better because I'm not going to be paying my daughter to do my hair, but we'll make that dollar go a little bit further. But we need lots of money.
Absolutely.
We need lots of volunteers, lots of time.
Yeah, you can go to her website, dowfornm.com, and read more about her. And then, of course, if you'd like to contribute, you can do that. Or do both. Come out tonight to Antigua's again from 5:30 to 7, 3601 North Main. Most people know where it's at, up on the north end of town there.
That's a great restaurant. I love their chips.
Get you great. Now, I know everyone's like scared. Prime rib tacos are great. If you're not into weird animals in your plate, you can eat prime rib tacos.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward. Come on out and talk. I'm ready to listen. I'm ready to learn and earn your support.
Absolutely. Is there anything, Rebecca, that you wanted to share or something you wanted to mention that we just sidetracked to get a chance to cover?
No, I think I'm good. I mean, I'm a mom on a mission. I am ready to make MLG a one-term governor. I need help from every one of these listeners to get it done.
Absolutely. It's we got to get all to the party to talk, and
That's right.
And if there's only one team at the party, it's hard to get a lot of talking.
Well, we're gonna get the job done. It won't be for lack of effort. We're on the trail 6 out of 7 days. I am not slowing down, and I just need folks to join me in this effort. She's probably the worst governor we've ever had in the state of New Mexico, and she's got to go.
Yeah. Well, again, check out our website. Come out to Antigua's tonight. Thank you very much for spending some time with us today, and look forward to talking to you more down the road here. And hopefully, as governor, we get to see you more than I've seen our current governor. I've seen her
pretty easy. I think I've lost count of how many times I've been in Roswell since I've announced.
Well, last time I saw her was when she was running for governor last time.
Interesting. Well, it's really interesting. They sure like to spend your money, but they don't like to say thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, they'll take our money.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. We
All right, thank
appreciate it. It is 8:46. Let's go ahead and